Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm getting a bunch of messages again saying, Don, did you see it happened again in Seattle? Another ship. Over 100 and some cases of COVID in Seattle. You gotta look at the picture closely. So I just did a video on the carnival spirit and just trying to explain some of the logistics behind, when people have delays reaching any bit. And that, it is annoying. I completely say it would be annoying if I'm stuck in my room on my cruise and I'm not getting any answers. If they're not relaying anything, even if it's paper, print out a copy, send it to all the guests, slip it under their door, whatever you need to do, make a speaker announcement if you have to, or send somebody or call people once a day. You should be able to do that. Even if you had 100 cabins out there, you could get 2 crew members somewhere on the ship, even if they're not medical staff, just to call down and see if there's anything you can do for people. So that should be a very big minimum that the cruise lines are doing. So, but when you're calling the medical staff, and there's, say, 5 of them on board, and there's 100 to 200 people calling, plus people who are calling because they're nervous that they've heard that there's all this outbreak on board. So you can see how that would be overwhelmed for 5 people, because they also have to treat the patients. They have to do all the testing. They have to fill out all the documentation. They have to fill out paperwork galore for every crew member and stuff. Not crew members, sorry. Well, crew members who test positive. They have to keep track of where they're shifting everybody, who's in what stateroom. There's a lot of logistics involved. It's not a simple matter of they have 100,000 people to look after the 100 people on board. So things can take a while. And when you think about it in that terms, in that situation, you can understand how much it is. It's not a hospital. It's a cruise ship with a hospital, like a nursing facility kind of thing. But I'm getting a lot of messages, again, that they're seeing more and more reports in Seattle and the newspapers saying, look, another cruise ship, 100 cases. Look, it's a Princess cruise ship. Again, oh my God, it's the Ruby Princess again. And it just had it like 3 weeks ago. It just had an outbreak. Look, well, if you look closely at the article and you look closely at the picture, the article is about the carnival spirit. But the picture that I'm seeing is of the Ruby Princess. So they're not talking about an outbreak on the Ruby Princess. They're talking about an outbreak from the carnival spirit still. It's the same topic. It's the same conversation. The carnival spirit is currently in Alaska, and I haven't heard any reports of huge outbreaks on that Alaska cruise. Now, it may come in to happen. What happened on the Ruby Princess, they announced over 100 and some passengers on that ship. I think somebody were saying about 150 passengers and crew were infected. And then the following week, when they reported into port, there was 37. And most of them were crew members who were still quarantined on that ship. So yes, there can be a big outbreak on these cruise ships. There can be that. But the cruise ships still seem to be handling it properly, because you don't hear a huge increase in cases on the next cruise as well. So I just to belittle any fears that are out there right now, that is the same story. There's not a second story out there about another ship, even though it's running 2 or 3 or 4 days later than it actually happened. A lot of people are confused by the pictures they're seeing in the news article because they're showing the wrong ship. They're showing a completely different cruise line situation. But they like to show the Ruby Princess because the Ruby Princess was one of the first ones to have a big outbreak when the pandemic started. So you'll see the Diamond Princess and you'll see the Ruby Princess a lot in these articles when the news media is looking to grab attention. So yeah, that's my feelings on that situation. As far as some of the things I've also heard, that they send people off to the hotels for quarantine. And then people are saying, but nobody's monitoring us at the hotel. Nobody's checking us. So basically they're shooting COVID out into the public. And it's got the attention of the mayor and things like that saying, you know what, we may have to institute mask mandates again, and we may have to do this and that. And I'm curious to know, I know what it's like in Canada. What's it like in the United States if you go to the pharmacy and you test positive and you're told to go home and quarantine for 10 days? Are you checked on every single day? Does somebody call you every single day? Does somebody go to your house and make sure you're not leaving the house? I don't think so. I don't think that's happening because there's thousands and thousands of cases that they keep reporting every single day, and I'm not seeing thousands of people showing up at people's doors to make sure they're staying in their homes for their quarantine, especially asymptomatic people. I think people are more likely from the cruise ships to stay in their hotel room trying to get information and when they can fly home than a person who tests positive in the city and told to stay home. I'm sure that, you know what, I need some milk and eggs. I'm sure they put their mask on and they run off to the grocery store and get milk and eggs. Is anyone monitoring them to make sure? And by the way, a phone call doesn't necessarily monitor where you are. So yeah, it's just funny that the cruise ships are always getting this attention, and they just can't seem to get away from it from the news media. I don't know. I guess because there's no testing anywhere else that they have to show that cruise ships are still the epicenter of the world for COVID, I guess. I don't understand. I'm really curious to see why there can be a spread in a city and spread in towns, but you don't hear big write-ups about it in the Washington Post and the National Post and things like that. But you certainly do whenever a cruise ship has an outbreak on board. Go figure, I guess. I guess the headlines are good. And I guess people click on those pictures that are not pictures of the ship in the story they're actually talking about. Funny how that happens.